Using my older camera that has its problems. I can't use the focus unless I already have it set when I go into the movie mode, and then even then it goes little and big on its own. But it gives me the most interesting orbs, more so than my other cameras. And it has a little light creature that I only see with this camera that I call Harry. You might see him pop into one of the orbs. Sometimes he doesn't show up unless I call his name. I know that sounds silly. She has a friend in the light. Yes, Harry, show up. I call him Harry. And I often see him in these orbs, but he's free moving. He skirts about here and there in this kind of, there he is. Hey, Harry, there you are. Oh, I can't get you still. Well, that was him. He just flitted by. And again, there he is. Well, I can't keep it fixed on him. Sometimes he's hard to keep up with. But you will see he'll be in and out. I'm going to concentrate on seeing all the changes going on in the orb, in the many different views of the orb of light. Now I'm going to take you to the light source over here. See that brightness? That's the light source, which is a LED light that I have in my room. And I want to show you, I've showed this very often, is the light as the orb comes out of the light. Or the photon of light that comes out from that light source. And it usually is filled with color ribbons like this. I don't know if they're ribbons, more like color tapestry. But then as it gets further out, it gets more interesting and more full of all kinds of strange looking sometimes things. There's Harry. Harry, you're being flighty today. I used to think Harry was just some debris that was caught up in my camera because this particular camera does have a lot of artifacts in it. I lost the cover to it many years ago and stuff has managed to get in there. But what is so strange is some of the stuff that is always in the same spot, so I know it's stuck in my camera, looks a whole lot like some of the things that are in these orbs. And that is strange to me. And this camera always puts two little eye sockets in the orb, and you can see it here in this one. But it's in every one. Two little black spots. There's Harry. Harry, get out of the way. I'm looking at something beside you. Oh, you don't like that. Okay, I'll look at you for a while. If I can keep up with you, which I can't, so I'm going to look at the other orbs. You can come in them if you want. I don't care. I like seeing you. See, I talk to him, but I don't ever hear anything back. But that's me. I talk to a lot of things. Trees and animals. I talk to my chickens all the time. On some level, they understand some of the things, some of the emotions and feelings and words that you speak to. These other things, on some level, they understand. Because everything has some form of consciousness, I believe. Even a rock. Now, these orbs that I take pictures of, that have so many colors just flashing on and off in them. I think it's something that needs to be investigated by someone who probably could do it better justice than me. But so far I don't have many takers. I wish I did. I did have one scientific-minded person, who considers himself that anyway, say a few things to me about this. Mostly that they were just pretty, that's all. They were pretty. But he thinks it's New Age nonsense, and orbs are something that he does not approve of. Nevertheless, people are getting them in their pictures, and sooner or later, some of these scientists who are so serious are going to be forced to reckon with them. I would hope that my videos would maybe intrigue them to look a little more into the light. For if this indeed is a world of light, another dimension of light that is all around us, I think it behooves us to know more about it. I like to follow things. I move the camera and the glass so that I can follow along a certain pattern and see what all is in that particular realm of light. When I look with the naked eye, not using my camera, at light, I see little round tubes, little round circles and little long tubes that are sort of entangled with one another, and they have spots of light within them. Now, Ed Liskalian, who built the Coral Castle, he also saw little beads of light, he said, in the air. But they weren't in the air, they just looked to be there. He said they were on the surface of his eye. And I believe that because I think all this that I see on the surface of my eye. I believe that because I used to experiment with looking at light that would come through a straw hat when I would be laying out in the sun. I'd put the straw hat over my face, and I would see the individual little photons of light, and every one of them had little specks of white that were like little balls, and they all looked the same because I was looking at what was on the surface of my eye. And then, if I didn't blink my eye, a black hole would start appearing in the orb that my eye was viewing. It would appear in all of them because there were several shiny spots I was seeing at the same time. And then my eye would hurt real bad when that black spots began forming, because it would become more than one spot of black. It was like my eye was drying, and it was very uncomfortable, so I would have to blink my eye. And when I would blink my eye, all of the orbs of light that I saw through that hat would have kind of a wash come down over them, and the black would go away and the little white spots returned. So I don't know what the camera is seeing, because that was an experience with what I was seeing that I can't really share with anyone, because it was my own eye seeing it. But the camera does pick up many things like unto what I see with my eye. Only all of these orbs aren't all the same, like the one I saw under the straw hat. They were all exactly alike. Then if a black spot started forming in one, it started forming in all of them at the same time. And when I would blink and the wash would come over that orb that I was seeing under the hat, all of them would have the same thing happening in them. I used to think, wow, if I could just keep my eye open longer even though the black spots are showing up, I think the entire thing would suddenly become all black. But I never could keep my eye open that long because it would hurt. There's much to be understood about how our eyes work and how that everything we see is actually we're seeing it on the inside of us. Because many of the things I see in the light that look like little tubes and things, sometimes I see that same sort of thing in these orbs, but many of them I see in front of me when I'm out on a day that's real bright, and I can put my hand out to where they are and I don't feel a thing. And I can bring my hand closer into my eye and they're still on my hand. So they're not at any distance in front of me. They're actually an inside view. What we think of as space, that the empty spaces in front of us, is not exactly what we think it is. It's not empty. For one thing, empty space is not empty. I am convinced of that from my experimenting with taking these pictures. It is full of this invisible stuff. Now, I have not talked to any scientist about any of this. Can't seem to get their attention. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. But I did get the attention of one person who considers himself a scientist, and I sent him some of my videos, but he was very discouraging. He just said, oh, there's no such thing as ether, because I was thinking this was kind of like the ether. And he just dismissed the pictures of what I'm seeing out of hand and said, oh, just orbs, that's a new age thing, and he is against anything that is channeled or comes through any new age organization. He just writes it all off as quackery. And he didn't have anything nice to say to me, I'll put it that way. I won't tell you his name or some of the things he said, but they were not nice. And I thought, wow, he's a scientist. Here's something that a scientist could look into light. And he was a scientist who studied Walter Russell, who I read a lot of Walter Russell books on my website, on my YouTube site, rather. And I love Walter Russell, but I don't understand all the things he talks about. This person thinks he understands everything Walter Russell said, or pretty much everything. And I thought he would have a mind that would be more inquiring as to what this is that I'm filming. But I was greatly disappointed. Greatly disappointed because I have heard it said by people like Rupert Sheldrake that there are scientists who are afraid of the subject consciousness or God or anything that is outside of their interest. But science and spirituality, as Walter Russell said, will marry. They will become one. And you can't just poo-poo everything that is New Age. I know there's a lot of charlatans out there. There probably are. But you will have a feeling within your own self of which ones are that and which ones aren't, because you have a sense of what's true. If you will just take your thoughts inward and ask there your own higher self, is this believable? Because I've had to do that about a lot of people who channel. Some of them I really believe in and others I don't. Because I know human nature is such that people make up stuff or people embellish to such a point that they become unbelievable and they become ego-minded. Too much ego-minded. Ego is good, but we don't want a prideful ego that it refuses to look at things. Well, this is the Dove Lady. I guess I've said enough. Over and out for now. Oh, Harry wants to say goodbye. Harry? You better get in there quick. I keep missing you when you do get it. Okay, over and out for now.